Welcome back, everyone. We got another edition of Sports Fellas. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back.
It's your boy, Tristan.
This is Chuck.
And your host, Carlos. You guys, follow us. We are on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, under Razor Cut Information. Now, on Spotify, it's RCI Podcast. Again, it's RCI Podcast if you have subscription to Spotify. Also, we have another edition of Sports Fellas this weekend. Tune into that. As well, we are doing a Dune edition for Silver Cosmos movie reviews. It's going to be broken up into multiple parts. So if Dune has been a book, a movie that you've been watching, and you're wanting to know a little bit more, follow us, you guys. We're going to talk a little bit more about it. So we look forward to you guys checking on in. So, you guys, we're on week 13 already of the NFL season. Again, we've had some ups and downs. We've had some injuries, we've had some headaches and some heartbreaks, and also people turning teams around. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's go ahead and dive into the Thursday night game. Chuck, we have the Dallas Cowboys visiting the New Orleans Saints. Both teams lost on Thanksgiving. Doesn't surprise me. Both are dealing with injuries and inconsistency. So, Chuck, I'm going to go with you. Who are you taking and why?
I'm going to go with the Cowboys. They're getting Amari Cooper back, and I think even though they have the pretty commanding lead over their division, they're going to need to show that they're still around. I think some of these teams that you expect to win and aren't, for whatever reason, they're falling off the tracks. If they don't establish that identity as a winning program heading into the playoffs with an extra week on the regular season, that's going to be rough to keep or gain any momentum at that late in the season. So it's almost like a win or keep that stale pace going for them, I think. And honestly, I think with the Saints injuries, I don't know if their quarterback situation is going to get any better anytime soon. So I really do see that the Cowboys pull this one out.
How about you, Tristan?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm going with the Cowboys. You know, they've had 2 losses to 2 very good AFC West teams the past 2 weeks. So they're not a bad team. They're still a good team. Their defense, they just need to pick it up, play how they've been playing at the beginning of the season. I think they'll be fine. And like Chuck said, the Saints quarterback situation is really not helping them win. So I think Taysom Hill's going to start this game. So hopefully he can come out and produce. Usually when he starts, of course, they just run the ball. If they can get that run game going, or if Taysom Hill can just make something happen, I think the Saints, will hang in there and not get demolished. But, I just don't see that happening, not against the Cowboys. I feel like the Cowboys will bounce back. They lost to a good team. And they'll make something happen on offense as well as defense for the Cowboys. So,
those are good points. And here's the thing that when I'm looking at both teams, how they match up. Yes, the Cowboys are receiving a prime wide receiver weapon in Amari Cooper. Dak is missing him. It's obvious. Now, again, we have discussed before, Chuck and Tristan, the run game. What is going on? Zeke has not been producing like he's supposed to be producing. And then Pollard is getting – I feel like he's been getting more yards than Zeke is doing. And on the flip side, now Alvin Kamara has shown promise, but he's still questionable for tomorrow's game. Now, Mark Ingram is projected to play. So thank goodness, because the guy, what was the third stringer, I think Jones, he didn't do jack squat, nothing. The Bills just manhandled the Saints on Thanksgiving. But also with the Cowboys here, what I saw against the Raiders, so shout out to Don, by the way. We had a good time watching that game. So America's team, here's the thing I'm going to ask you guys. Just one question. Just one. Are you guys going to live up when you guys were winning those games previously? Because, remember on First Take, Undisputed, ESPN, and then all the America's team are all around Kansas and the surrounding areas talking about Cowboys going to the Super Bowl. They're going to the Super Bowl. I know Chuck inside was thinking a little bit, are they really going to look how they did on the first game against the Buccaneers. I thought, dude, the Cowboys are the real deal. Then they played my team, the Broncos, beat them around, and then they played the Chiefs, and they struggled against the Chiefs. But I feel this is going to be a statement game for them to turn things around. Because right now, don't shut off the Washington football team. They're only 2 games behind. Now they just, with the win against Seattle, They are back in the wild card spot. That's not bad. And then, so especially now they also have their 2 running backs as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about them later. So I agree for this game. This is going to be a game that it's a necessity win for the Cowboys. If the Saints can take a win, that will help them a little bit going further. I still don't think they'll take the division, but they'll just have to pick up wins. But we all agree it's going to be the Cowboys.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so moving on, we have the Indianapolis Colts going against Chuck's team, Houston Texans. So we see that Indianapolis went toe-to-toe with the Super Bowl champions. It was a great game. It was well played on both sides. The Texans as well has racked up some wins. So I'm going to start this off with you, Chuck. Who are you taking and why?
Well, it is in Houston, so that's a little bit tougher on that. But with Jonathan Taylor doing what he's doing on the run attack like that, Houston's defense is not going to stop him because nobody can stop him. So, if Tyrod Taylor can come out and keep the offense flowing and keep Indianapolis' offense off the field. So I think if they own time of possession, that's the only chance they have. But I still don't see Indy losing this game, even on the road. I mean, they're playing with a good amount of momentum. For whatever reason, can't stop the run game. T.Y. Hilton's back, and he's performing for them. So I don't see Indianapolis getting stopped by the Houston Texans right now. There's just no way.
Yeah, I agree, man. I just wanted to apologize because it's rough for you being a Houston fan. They lost to the Jets last week, man. I don't see them beating the Colts. The Colts are one of my favorite underrated teams, I feel like. And now they're not so underrated. Everybody knows that they're on the rise. Like you said, they're not stopping Jonathan Taylor. Even last week, the Bucs were actually giving Jonathan Taylor a hard time, and I thought that an offense relied on him and they couldn't do anything without him. But I think Carson Wentz and those receivers proved that, hey, even if y'all stop the run, we can pass. Michael Pittman's been doing good. T.Y. Hilton's been on the rise. Man, like, it's not just Jonathan Taylor. I feel like everybody's been, you know what, we can do this. We can compete with this Super Bowl caliber team. And that game they played last week, I thought that was great. So, yeah, I got to go with the Colts on this one. I think they're just on fire right now.
Well, first of all, let's go ahead and give a quick shout-out to all the Indianapolis Colts fans. First of all, Kyle, one of the guys in the studio, we appreciate you, and we know how you're a diehard Colts fan. And also Gracie Petty and the family, also Sean Clem. And overall, we want to say to the Stripling family, thank you guys for tuning in and also being Colts fans. Okay, so now that's all said and done. All right, Chuck, here's the thing. Here's the scenario I have here. I've had to deal with this rivalry, especially with when Peyton was there. He would just go into Houston, beat you guys, go, always running with the division. Mm-hmm. The Texans, we've had this discussion before. The Texans, they show promise sometimes, and sometimes they don't. And right now, the Colts, don't let the record fool you. The Colts should be in a wild card spot. And if Tennessee keeps slipping, they're going to take it away from Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
So if Tennessee don't get it together and Coach Vrabel find a way to hold on to that division, the Colts are going to take it. And honestly, how things are looking right now, I'd rather the Colts win the division. It's going to spice up the AFC conference side when it comes to when playoffs come around. And right now, especially Carson Wentz getting in unison with T.Y. Hilton. That was awesome to see T.Y. Hilton back. And also with Pittman. I would like to see a little bit more of Jack Doyle step up a little bit on the tight end position.
Great game last game, dude.
Just beautiful. Even get more involved. Get more involved. And also they have, besides Taylor, they can still use Hines.
Oh, yeah.
And, I don't know what's up with Marlon Mack. I don't know how he's holding down the bench. But I'll tell you this. The Colts have every piece necessary for them to make a push for the playoffs. So I think this is going to be a quality win from them, just for the simple fact it's going to go in for the win for them in the division.
If I can also say, too, so their bye week's coming up. So they're having a late bye week, I think. And this season, a lot of the teams are having later bye weeks than usual. It seems like it's affecting certain teams certain ways. For them to last without certain injuries right now, I mean, like you said, Tennessee's slipping. Unless Derrick Henry comes back, they're not going to take that division, I don't think. And even if they do, if you don't have him in your backfield, then you don't have an answer for your offense and to take Tannehill to a two-dimensional quarterback. He's one-dimensional right now without that running back. So
Indianapolis, like you said, has an answer at every point of the offense. Their defense is doing okay, giving up a little bit too many points, I think, but who doesn't let the Bucs score on them, in all honesty? But I do think it's Indy's division to win, especially with their record coming up, or their schedule coming
The
up.
Bucs do look scary. I do agree, Chuck. So, all right. So we got the Minnesota Vikings going to the Motor City, visiting the Detroit Lions. So Minnesota, again, goes to show their inconsistency. And shout out to Chaz and Todd and Greg, all Viking fans. Here's the thing, guys. It doesn't register in my head. I don't get it. I mean, then did you see Kirk Cousins? He lined up on the wrong side of the ball.
He lined up behind him as a guard.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this has got to be a wildcat play. Something's going on. And I was like, no, he's really not. He's not following what's going on here. And the thing is any update on Dalvin Cook? What's the status of him, Tristan?
He has a shoulder injury, I think. I don't think he's going to play this week.
He dislocated his shoulder, so I think Madison's going to hit up the helm there.
Mm-hmm.
Which Madison's not bad. He's a big he's a big guy himself. So, but also for their fortune, DeAndre Swift is out against the Lions game. So this makes now the Lions what is it there to win or lose? And I'm gonna start this off with you, Tristan.
Man, got to go with the Vikings. I think it's a no-brainer. Lions have been terrible all season, and without Swift, I feel like they don't have an offense. I can't see them doing anything against the Vikings without DeAndre Swift on that offense. And even though Dalvin Cook's out, Madison, he's proven, he's a great running back. He can step up and be an RB1 if he needs to. So I have no doubt that Madison will produce, and I have no doubt that the Vikings can make something happen against the Lions. So I'm going with the Vikings on this one.
Sounded like you said the Lions for.
I was thinking.
We all want it. We just know it ain't going to happen, right?
I've been rooting for Chuck.
Man.
I have proof. I have witnesses here. I've been rooting for Detroit. I have this belief that they'll do something. It's just that Jared Goff is really, he's not the answer. They have heart, though. It's one of those things that the team, they do so well. They want to win.
Right.
They don't give up. It's just boneheaded mistakes.
Yeah.
They choke on the last second. And now, I mean, Minnesota comes into town. Now you got to cover Jefferson. You got to cover Thielen, Conklin, and now Madison coming in. I mean, there's just a lot of weaponry on the offensive side going in. Now defense, they still put up a good fight. It's just that San Francisco got the best of them, especially with Deebo Samuel. And then what was that running back they had? Mitchell. Mitchell was giving them a hard time as well. So on my end, I'm taking Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no chance I think Detroit wins the game. The only win they'll get this season is that tie. I think that's going to be their only positive note on their resume this year. And, I mean, it answered a few things. It answered that Jared Goff is who Jared Goff is. He was, made to look a lot better than he really was with Sean McVay at the helm there. And I just think, honestly, even if, let's say, Detroit had a couple wins on their on the season, I still think that Minnesota's a way better team, and their losses are really close to really good teams. So I think that their record doesn't actually reflect as much as well of a team that they can be. So that division's pretty tough too, and I know this just happens to be an easy matchup for them going forward, and hopefully they can pull out the next few wins to maybe squeak their way into the playoffs.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on. We have the New York Giants visiting the Miami Dolphins. So the New York Giants they beat Philly in their division, and also Miami Dolphins spanked the Carolina Panthers. So Miami has found a resurgence in their win. They're still a little behind in the AFC East, but right now they're playing with confidence. So right now, we know that the New York Giants, the quarterback Daniel Jones is still suffering a little bit from an injury, so he's been limited. Also, the wide receiver Kadarius Toney's still out, but he's still not practicing. So I'm going to start this off with you, Tristan. Who are you taking and why?
I want to give a shout out to my cousin Diego. He's a huge Dolphins fan, and I'm going with the Dolphins on this one, man. I don't see the Giants producing, and the Dolphins are on fire. They're on a 4-game win streak right now. One of those wins being against the Ravens, and they beat the crap out of the Panthers, man. Their defense is, I feel like their defense is really what's doing it for them. Their defense is holding up, producing, man, and I love their defense. How they've been the past couple weeks, and Tua as well. He's been doing pretty good, and yeah, man, I like how the Dolphins are looking, and I don't see the Giants beating them. The Giants don't have enough weapons, in my opinion. I can't see them doing anything on offense unless Saquon makes something happen. So, and Saquon, it looks like he's still a little injured. He hasn't been producing ever since he's got back from that injury. So I don't know if that's holding him back still. I'm assuming that's what it is, but we know he's a great running back. So unless Saquon can make something happen for the Giants, I don't see them beating the Dolphins this week.
Chuck?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think Miami has their answer, and they're solidifying that week in, week out that he plays. Tua, he's their future quarterback. They're about to get Will Fuller back in a week or two. He just poses that deep threat that, for some reason, you can't cover sometimes. He's just got hands, and he does his job well downfield like that. So that's going to definitely add another element to their offense. And granted, as successful as their program is heading, unfortunately, it's not going to come to fruition this year in the postseason for them. But they've got a future, and they're showing it. So, keep that shimmer of light going forward. Their program's on the uprise. New York, you thought was going to be because they thought they had their guy. Now with the injury woes there, and I don't think Saquon, as good as he is going to get out of his injury-riddled tendencies probably for another year or two, if at all, just because I say that with the shelf life of running backs in the NFL. These are workhorses. They get hit every time. They're blocking, or they're catching and getting hit, getting tackled, or they're running down the middle, getting hit, getting tackled. Derrick Henry's just a freak beast, and apparently now he's not invisible. So if that guy can go down, and Saquon can go down, Christian McCaffrey can go down, it's unfortunate that position is what it is, but they had their quarterback and now they don't. They had their running back and now they don't. So I think that they're probably going to have to go into a little bit of a rebuild and, just pull in a couple of wins here and there when they can, but it's not going to be this weekend against Miami.
Those are real good points, and it's so unfortunate, especially on the running back position. Christian McCaffrey, we'll talk about him here shortly, but remember Todd Gurley? Mm-hmm. You see how, he was, when he was with the Rams, he was, elite running back.
Absolutely.
Well-deserved going into the Super Bowl. And then look what happened. He didn't even get to play in the Super Bowl. He was missed. And so back to what we were saying, Gaskin has made an impact back finally. They're utilizing him again. And also Brissett is a good quarterback, but Tua is just, he's got that drive. He's got that drive to want to win. And Miami did a good job in keeping, especially Coach Flores. He did a good job in managing the defense, and because he was a defensive coach, right? When he was in New England, or offensive? No, he was defense, wasn't?
Who?
Because Coach Flores for the Dolphins.
Oh, I have no idea what he was before.
Okay, because we know that Matt Patricia was defense, and then Coach Daniels was the offense. So so he's somewhere around there. Anyway, so here's the thing, though. Miami can keep racking on wins. They just got to just keep collecting. Stay under the radar, because eventually you're going to have to play the Bills. You're going to have to play New England. That's where you have to measure up. That's where it is. Forget these other games. Focus on getting each win each week in, week out, and then eye on that schedule. And when you see Buffalo and you see New England, say, okay, this is where I'm going to measure at and go from there. So we all three agree it's going to be Miami that's going to win. All right, so moving on also to the NFC South divisional game, we have the Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, visiting the Atlanta Falcons. All right, so this is going to be pretty simple here. Tampa Bay. It's going to be Tampa Bay. That's why they're the Super Bowl champions. Look the way that they're playing. They're playing with finesse. They're playing aggressive, and you got Tom Brady, the GOAT. You got the GOAT there. Has beaten up on his friend Matty Ice, in Super Bowl. He beat him in a Super Bowl. He's beating him in the division. And I just feel that they're getting ready to go into Atlanta, and they're just going to demolish the bird. What do you got, Tristan?
Oh yeah, Tampa Bay. This is easy, bro. We can playoff Lenny. He's here, man. He's unstoppable. Ronald Jones even got a touchdown last game too. So that backfield's crazy. Tom Brady and his wide receivers are crazy. They have an amazing defense. They're not losing to the Falcons, man. The Falcons are just not a good team this year. So yeah, it's Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think that Atlanta, unfortunately, has to face the two-headed monster of that repeat of that Super Bowl. You got shellacked by New England, and that was unfortunate because it wasn't even the same quarterback at the helm. But now you have to go play the quarterback that took you from behind, so to speak. It's just going to be unfortunate that they're going to have to face that other end of that equation that made them so notorious. But I do think that, Matty Ice has a couple years left. They've got a really solid tight end. Their run game is semi-questionable, but, I think with their division and the status that it's in, they can still easily pull off a playoff, berth here in the next year or two. But this year, they're just going to have to ride it out.
I just don't like how Atlanta has carried themselves. We've discussed this before on the show that Mike Davis has not been utilized. I mean, you got him from Carolina. Last year in Carolina, he was the workhorse there when Christian McCaffrey was out.
Yep.
And then Cordell Patterson comes out of nowhere. He's getting the reps. He's getting plays. Pitts has stepped up. I just feel like the organization is not trusting Mike Davis. Something is going on. I think it's time for Mike to leave Atlanta and take his services elsewhere, somewhere that they'll utilize him. But it's just a matter of time. If he does not find the rhythm and be able to produce, he's just going to be one of those running backs. Hey, you played in the NFL, and it's time for you to go.
Well, I feel like the thing with Mike Davis is Cordell Patterson's just, man, he's been popping off this season. So I feel like they have no reason to utilize him, especially if they're behind in every game. They have no reason to run the ball. And Cordell Patterson's not just a running back. He's a great receiver. So I feel like that's why they put Cordell Patterson in. Like you said, they just have no use for Mike Davis.
And they're going to be coached well, the Buccaneers. They're just going to get in there and just take away Matty Ice. They're going to take away his weapons. I mean, right now with Gage has stepped up as a wide receiver, and they're going to lock him down. It's going to be it's not going to even be a close affair. So we all got the Buccaneers. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles going to visit the New York Jets. So Philadelphia took a loss against the New York Giants, and the Jets were able to get a win against Chuck's team, the Houston Texans. So they're going to New York, not too far, Philly to New York. This is going to be it seems like a game that's going to imply more for the Eagles. The simple fact they're still in the hunt in the NFC. Right now, they're trying to capitalize on wins so they can pair off with the Washington football team and the Dallas Cowboys. I feel the Eagles are a little bit more equipped than the New York Jets, but the Jets, they seem to surprise me. Mm-hmm. This is a scary pick because I would automatically go with the Eagles immediately. But I'm kind of like, I don't know, because, I mean, the Jets have fooled me. I mean, they've beaten Tennessee. I mean, they've beat the Texans, and this is tough. I'm going to go different this time. I'm going to go for the Jets just because they're at home, and they might play different. So who are you taking, Tristan?
I like that pick. The third one they have is against the Bengals, who are an amazing team too. So I think that says something about the Jets. I think the Jets are capable of beating really good teams, of course, but it's just haven't found their rhythm this season. This one's a difficult one for me because Philadelphia played a bad game last week. Depending on how Philadelphia plays, it could go either way, but I just don't see the Jets beating Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts has been doing really good this season, and Devontae Smith's kind of inconsistent, but he's there. I don't really like Jalen Reagor that much. I think he's overrated, or he's just a bad receiver in my opinion. So they got the running backs, Philly, and Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith. I feel like that's all you need. And Michael Carter's out for the Jets, and they've been too inconsistent this season, as you can tell by their record. So I like your pick. They're one of my favorite underrated teams just because of the players that are on there, and it's a pretty young team. But man, I have to go with the Eagles on this one. They've been doing a lot better than just this season.
You kind of led me on when you were the way you said that.
It's
It led me on.
Because I like the point you made about how they could beat them, and I agree. It's just Michael Carter's out, and I love Michael Carter, but I feel like with him out and how the Eagles have been doing, as long as Jalen Hurts does good, which he has been doing all season, then I feel like they just don't stand a chance, man.
Gotcha. Chuck?
Well, I think the last 5 or 6 weeks has proven anything that any given Sunday is any given Sunday to the definition.
Oh yeah.
These teams are falling. These teams are gaining that shouldn't be, and you don't want to give up a week, and especially if they're in a tight race for their division. But they've also finished out with NFC East only schedule. So even if they do lose this to the Jets, if they don't think that they're gonna, if they go in thinking they're gonna win, they probably will lose. And the only saving grace to that is that they finish out against NFC East schedule. So they can lose this one, and it's really not. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal, barring them taking the next 4 games as serious as they need to try to win that division. Jalen Hurts, I think, has a lot to prove because he's such a young talent, and there's a lot of naysayers, and just like Baker has, OU produces really good quarterbacks, but for some reason the NFL talent of quarterback, they're not that championship caliber, it seems like. But he's got an opportunity to go against that and prove that he is. His receiving core is just the youngest, most talented, I think, in the league right now. I think they're just right there, and they're exactly what he needs. Boston Scott, I think, is a pretty underrated running back, and he's doing pretty good for them when, Gainwell doesn't seem to have a lot of momentum sometimes. But so I do think they're fully capable of losing to the Jets. I think the Jets do play to their opponent's level, and they take that. I mean, they went and beat the Houston Texans, and granted, they're not that great, but the Texans playing like they were, having Tyrod Taylor back, they shouldn't have lost that game, and the Jets proved that, well, they are still a team to be taken seriously without their, young quarterback at the helm. So I will, if I had to put a little money on it with the spread they got going, I think I'd take the Jets.
Okay, so 2 Jets, 1 Eagles. We'll have to see.
And see, I like y'all's pick. I like the Jets.
No,
But this
Tristan,
week, I don't see it, man.
Tristan, you're going to lead me on. Stop, okay? I'm tired of getting led on. Hey, Tristan, keep it up. You're going to get censored here. All right, so we got the Arizona Cardinals visiting the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. So Cardinals, they're the number 1 team in the NFC, and they're so far holding on to the NFC West in the division, and they're number 1 overall in, I already said in the NFC. So they're going against a Chicago Bears team that is not that good. What I'm trying to see here is, Soldier Field is tough to play at. It's still a tough team to play. And plus, Arizona, they're going into the cold, if it's projected to be cold. Justin Fields has not really – he's been inconsistent. The run game, not bad. It's just that whole chemistry out there. It's just – Chicago barely beat the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. Barely. And – this is just kind of one of those games. Arizona has everything pointing for them. Right now, this is a win that they need so they can stay up top. Because here's the thing. The Rams have lost 3 games. San Francisco has been winning, but now that they're out without Deebo Samuel for 2 weeks, this is the Cardinals' opportunity to capitalize on this win so they can hold on to the NFC West and that number 1 spot in the NFC. So I'm going to go all in with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cardinals too, man. Best team in the league. I love watching them play. Kyler Murray's a monster. James Conner stepped up. They have great receiving core with D-Hop, Kirk, AJ Green, and the Bears are the Bears. That's all I can say.
Bears.
Granted, Darnell Mooney, he's been stepping up, but they can't. I don't know their quarterback situation. Andy Dalton's been decent, and Justin Fields has been inconsistent. So. Just with how the Bears have been doing all season and how the Cardinals have been doing all season, I think it's just a guaranteed Cardinals win.
Do you think, Chuck, that Coach Nagy, after this year, you think he'll get let go from Chicago?
I'm actually glad you brought his name up because he's the reason they're going to lose this game. Every game they play, he's going to be the reason they lose that game. He could be fired today, and they might beat the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh,
I do think that if that would be a bigger factor for the organization for the Bears if they could just get rid of that fact that reason why they're not going to be a winning program. He's not the answer now. He's not going to be the answer in the future, and that's going to be a big wasted talent in Justin Fields. Like plenty of other Bears quarterbacks have gone to fall because they don't have the coach to get the job done.
who would you pick to be the coach for the Chicago? Who do you think would be a good fit for them?
Well, honestly, if you could go with no head coach, and if you could just get Aaron Rodgers to be your quarterback like they should have in the offseason, they would probably put out 6 more wins in a year. So I don't think it's necessarily any other coach could be the answer. It's just that Nagy is not the answer. It's more so that than it is what other coach could take his place. Right now, the market's pretty thin for coaches. You know, Jason Garrett just went out, but I doubt he's going to get picked up anytime soon. So, you know, maybe I know Patricia didn't do so hot in Detroit, but who does? Maybe go out and seek some of that. Josh McDaniels, if you could offer him a decent control over his program, I think he would be a good answer because he's an offensive-minded guy, and that offense has weapons. So, you know, I potentially think he'd probably be their better option as a candidate just because their defense is great, or their defense can be good, but that offense just needs to be utilized and that talent be exploited. You know what I mean?
You know who came to my mind, Chuck, was the offensive coordinator for
Eric
the Kansas City
Bieniemy.
Chiefs.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Two minds
That
think
man-
alike.
Yeah,
Look
that
at
man needs a head.
He deserves it. And I'll tell you
coaching
why.
contract.
Because the way he's been helping groom Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
and just the way, and he's learning from Andy Reid. Andy Reid has been an offensive-minded guy for a longest time. And the only reason why I don't like Matt Patricia, and because they want to be like Bill Belichick. It's like, okay, we're gonna be just like Bill. It does not work.
Right. Nobody.
I mean, if you want to be different, be like Sean McVay or something. Be able to say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna establish my own identity. I'm gonna do the best what I can. Or I was gonna say bring back John Gruden, but I don't think that'd be ideal right now. So okay, so it's just gonna be Arizona. So we'll leave it at that. So next up, we have a very interesting match here. So we have the Los Angeles Chargers going to the jungle in Cincinnati to play the Bengals, the red hot striped Bengals. Shout out to Chris, big Bengals fan. This is going to be an interesting game. I like this game, and I'll tell you why. Because 2 young quarterbacks, 2 good running backs, a pair of good wide receivers. This is going to be an interesting showdown. This could possibly be a playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the Bengals are the hot team to watch right now. They're playing with full confidence. I still think, I'm going to throw it out there. I think these guys are going to give Baltimore a run for their money for the division.
Oh yeah, I do think that.
I think this is going to be
I
so
agree.
interesting. So, but before I pick my pick, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor, Driston. Who are you going to take and why?
I'm taking the Bengals, man. I was gonna say they beat the crap out of the Steelers, but honestly, I think the Steelers are a terrible team. Sorry, Eric.
That's true.
I will tell him that on the next show that what you said. So I got it recorded, so there is proof.
Okay, but yeah, I love the Bengals, man. Joe Mixon has been going crazy. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they have the weapons, but so does the Chargers. I agree. It's going to be an interesting game. They have great running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, just like you said. But, man, I just have to go with the Bengals simply because Chargers are in my division. No, because I like the Bengals, man. I think they've been doing great, and their defense has been stepping up. And I think it's simply because I just think the Bengals have a better defense right now. And the Chargers, the past 3 weeks, they lost to the Broncos. They barely beat the Steelers, who, like I said, I don't think is a very good team. And then the week before that, they lost to the Vikings. So they haven't been doing too hot the past couple weeks. They started off strong, but I feel like they've been having really close games and haven't been playing the best that they can. So, and I think simply because the Bengals are on fire, that they're just going to keep that momentum going and beat the Chargers.
How about you, Chuck?
I think the biggest factor going into this game is Cincinnati's offense is playing lights out, and the Chargers let up like the 26th, 28th most points per game in the league. So even if the Chargers can keep up with scoring, the Bengals are not going to be stopped, I feel, not in this game. There's just not with the run game doing what it's doing. Like, man, he's Joe Mixon, man. He's something else to be watching football right now. But I do think that the Chargers have more on the line, because if you're going to stay in the hunt for a wild card, because the way the Chiefs are playing, you're not going to take it from them. You had a chance, but the Chiefs showed back up. Their identity's rekindled, but the Bengals got that division, and I think they almost pretty much know it. They're just trying to keep their guys, in stride here. Keep that momentum going, get that higher seed if you can, because that's pretty important this year going into the playoffs. But I do think that the Chargers need and want it more. It's just a matter of if Herbert can be the guy that he's supposed to be, and he has proven he is, man. He's a great quarterback for as young as he is, and he's showing really good promise. But I do think Joe Burrow probably will have more success because of his divisions falling down a little bit. But so going future, I think Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow keep that, and their wide receivers, man. It's maybe I stand corrected with Philly's wide receiving core, Miami's wide receiving core, like that young receiving core, they're hot right now, and they've got chemistry. So I do think the Bengals will pull it out just because their offense is firing so hot. But I don't see the Chargers giving it up easily by any means with their offense.
So it's like that for all the old timers out there, including me. CCR. You know the band CCR.
Mm-hmm.
Tristan, you're killing me a little bit. Deep inside, week by week, you hurt my soul sometimes. Yeah, you make me feel old. You put down my team. It's just you're getting to me a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
man.
look, here's the thing. There's a song CCR has. It's "Welcome to the Jungle." The Chargers are going to go into the jungle, and Joe Burrow and Mixon is going to light it up to the Chargers. They finally swept the rivals of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Can you understand, through many years? And when Chris comes
Convincingly.
on the show, because Chris, our guy here, he's a huge Bengals fan. He can tell you how many times Ben has stomped them in the playoffs, has just beaten them year after year. And finally, this is the team now that they're growing. They're young, they're powerful, and they should have beaten the Packers. Yes, I'm going to say it there. I want everybody here. They should have beaten the Packers. Like in the words of Coach Green, you let them off the hook. You shouldn't have went for that field goal. You should have went for a little, progress more yards. But it's okay. It's in the past. It's done. It's done. This is going to groom them up. If they can get this win, remember, they have the Chiefs still. The Bengals will play the Chiefs pretty soon. So this is going to be the first opportunity to see what the Chargers are going to do. Now, the Chargers and Chiefs do not play the same because Patrick Mahomes and Justin
Because
Herbert.
the Chiefs are better.
Okay, we did not say that. So don't put words in my mouth. This guy. So, but here's the thing. This is what I'm keening on here. The Bengals play more balanced football than the Chargers do, and Chuck nailed it on the dot. And you've seen the games, Tristan.
Mm-hmm.
They give up too many points. They put themselves in these positions to where it's like, what happened? We should have won. They got beat by Denver, 4-man rush. How does Denver beat you guys? And you guys the week before, you guys beat the Steelers. You guys barely lost to the week before to Minnesota. And yet you guys come into these games and then you're giving, and Justin Herbert looks like, well, what do I do? You guys got to stay consistent.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to root for you guys, if I give you this chance to beat the Bengals, you guys have to prove that you guys can pick apart the defense, control the clock, capitalize on winning on the ground. Let Austin Eckler get out. That's why he's a good running back. Get Jared Cook more involved. Mike Williams, he's a beast. Throw it out there to him. Keenan Allen, and then they got 2 more wide receivers. I don't know their names right now, but they're as good as well. So the Chargers, you guys need to step up. Get in there. Tame the tiger. Tame the Bengal tiger. Tame them. If you guys want to win, prove it. Don't let Tony the Tiger just maul you guys, because it's going to be great if you guys let them win. So,
Yeah.
But now that it comes down to it, it's just the Bengals are at home. They're happy. They're playing with confidence, and I think they're just going to go ahead and stun the Chargers. So they're going to maul the Chargers. That's the way I see it. So, all right. So next up we have the Jacksonville Jaguars going to SoFi to go play the Los Angeles Rams. So Chuck, the Rams, they're on a 3-game losing streak. They look kind of confused. Jacksonville, we don't know what we're going to get in Jacksonville. Either they're going to win, they're going to lose. It's more like I want to know what they're going to wear when they come to the game. Are they going to wear their alternative black jerseys? Are they going to wear green, white? See, that's sad that I'm looking more forward to what they're going to be wearing than what they're going to be playing. That's pathetic. But Chuck, help me here. Who are you taking and why?
Oh, that's going to be the Rams by far. Like they, as bad as they've done, and yes, they have to turn it around. So that's all the more reason they need to win the game. But this is a gimme game, I think, for them. As unpredictable as the NFL has been as of recent, I do think that I would put the bank on the LA Rams this weekend, just because the fact that, yeah, you're right, Jacksonville's storyline is all but what they do on the field. It's all about whatever's going on around them, but not what's going on in the game. So, for that reason, and now I think they got rumors of Urban Meyer taking one of these college jobs or something. So, I don't, just for the fact that he's probably not, adding to that fire, but having your name come up in those types of things, it almost makes it seem like you're not where you need to be, focus wise. There should be no question as to what he's going to be doing from now for the foreseeable future, and apparently it's enticing enough to make storylines out of it. But the bigger, I think, factor here is the Rams need to get back on pace. They need to get back onto, where they were going and take that route, because it's a long season, and that conference ain't getting any easier. So,
Yeah, I got to go with the Rams, man. Jacksonville, not it this season, man. I don't see the Rams losing to Jacksonville and the past 3 games that they've lost, they've been to good teams. It hasn't been to bad teams. It hasn't been to a team like Jacksonville. The Rams are still a great team, and last week we saw OBJ step up. He stepped into that role since Robert Woods was out, and they didn't play very bad at offense. They just lost to a good Packers team, in my opinion. So, yeah, I got to go with the Rams on this one. I feel like there's no explanation needed. Just it's the Jaguars, man. I don't see that happening.
Matthew Stafford, this is going to be a game for him to really get it together again. I mean, you have, Odell stepped up. He stepped up. You got Jefferson has stepped up as a wide, and then Cooper Kupp. I mean, you have already 3 wide receiver weapons with options. Tyler Higbee, come on, get the guy involved as well. I mean, come on, Matthew Stafford. That's why Sean McVay got you over there, because Jared Goff wasn't doing it, and you got a good running back in Henderson. I mean,
yep.
he's doing great. Everything's going good. You're going to go, and then you got Lockdown and Ramsey. He's going to go play against his former team, so he's going to take away one of their top. And also you got Darnold, and then you got Von Miller that's going to harass Trevor Lawrence. This is going to be a heyday pretty much. And then Urban Meyer, if they keep continuing what they're doing, he needs to go. He needs to go back to college. And then you know who they need to bring back? I liked it when Jack Del Rio was the coach there. I don't know why not Mark Brunell, but he was the former Jacksonville quarterback. I'm talking about Tom Coughlin. If Tom Coughlin could just pick someone that was identical to him, because remember, let's go back into history, way before your time, Tristan. Tom Coughlin coached the Jacksonville Jaguars. He took them to the AFC Championship. He was prominent in the playoffs. It's just that never able to get over the hump until where did he go? He coached the New York Giants. Mm-hmm. He finally got 2 Super Bowls. Facts. Okay, so take notes, Tristan. Take notes. Okay. But here's the thing. It's simple. The Rams need this win. They have to. If they're going to try to compete in the NFC West, they need this win, because if the more that Arizona's winning, the more the Rams are going to have to just become a wild card team. So it's critical game. I think this is going to go for the Los Angeles Rams. Next up, we have the Washington football team visiting the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders got an awesome, thrilling win in Dallas, and Washington beat the Seattle Seahawks. This is going to be an interesting game. I mean, both teams have something to prove. I'm going to start this off with you, Tristan. Who are you taking and why?
I'm taking Washington on this one, and I feel like that's a surprising one. But, man, they're on a 3-game win streak. One of those wins was against the Buccaneers. And it's mainly because I want Washington to win, just because, it's the Raiders. But honestly, Antonio Gibson, he stepped up last game. I think he's finally getting over that injury that he had. And Taylor Heineke's been doing really good, and their defense has been shutting out these offenses. And it's just, I feel like Washington can compete against this game, and they have a chance to win. And as long as they can shut down that deep threat in who is it? Austin for the Raiders. Who did they pick up? Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, I feel like if they can shut down that deep threat, it shouldn't be too difficult to hold them, because they got great weapons on that offense and as well as defense. But I feel like Washington stands a chance. And I honestly, it's just because I want them to win this game. And how they've been playing the past 3 weeks, I feel like they can.
Honestly, I don't know that I'd put money on either team for this one right now. The Cowboys' defense has been playing pretty good, and for Vegas to do what they did and put that amount of points on them, granted it was all with the leg, but Washington is playing really well, and Derek Carr is about as inconsistent as it can get when it comes to that quarterback position. But I do think that the Raiders are still in the hunt, having a winning record like they are. Washington is too, but they can win that division with a losing record, in all honesty, the way it can go. So it may be a little more important to the Raiders. They've got momentum right now with that big victory on Thursday. And I honestly don't know that I can pick either team. But since we're doing pick'ems, I'm going to go with Vegas.
Okay. I mean, this is a critical for both. Mm-hmm. And who's got more momentum that needs it is the Las Vegas Raiders, for the simple fact that look at the options they have. They can still get the division. They could still be in a wild card.
Who, the Raiders?
They
cannot get the division.
Okay, Tristan,
get out of here.
Tristan, I'm going to put you on probation, bro. You keep coming to this show, you keep interrupting, and you keep Tristan, you got to cut it out, bro.
Hey, stop saying stuff like that, and I will.
Boy, it's blasphemy. That's what you're doing. But here's the thing. Hear me out, guys. Look, for all the Raider fans, I want you guys to listen. Shout out to Brandon. Brandon, I hope you're doing well. He's out there in Las Vegas. Hope you're doing well, my friend. We miss you. Also, Yoli holding it down in Boulder City. And then, of course, Don, big Raider fan. So, you guys, this is what I'm going to ask you guys this question. Do you guys want to be in the playoffs? Like what Derek Carr said, you're tired of losing. You guys have all the pieces you need. I mean, your front line is pretty good defensively in Max Crosby. Your secondary kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. You have to prove this is the great opportunity against Washington. Washington, like what Tristan said, they are riding on this momentum. They beat the Super Bowl champions. They're beating the Panthers, and then they just beat the Seahawks. And the Seahawks, they're not the same, but still, they locked down DK Metcalf. Tyler Lockett wasn't able to do as much as he was doing, and then the run game was not even there. So, just looking at the stats and going in who's going to want it, I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders for the simple fact, Derek Carr, have you noticed he's getting a little more confident throwing the ball out? That's what he does. The Chiefs did a good job shutting that down because they knew what Derek Carr was going to do. But let's get him involved again. Get him running the ball. Then get Drake involved. Also, what's the update on Waller? Is he still injured?
He's doubtful. Yeah, he's doubtul to play these games. But that backup's pretty decent, I believe. Last time he started, he went off.
So there you go. So the Raiders need this win. They need it more. Washington could use the win because they're in momentum chasing Dallas for the division. But either way, they're both right now, if the season would end today, they both would be in the playoffs. Because with the Colts losing, that put the Raiders back in there. But anything can change. We still got a few more games to go. So we have 2 Raiders, 1 Washington football team. All right, next up we have the AFC North divisional rivalry game. We have the Baltimore Ravens visiting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, so through the years, the Ravens-Steelers have gone at it. Memorable matches. A lot of history going on here. The Ravens have just been racking up wins in the most ugliest fashion, but they still find ways to win. One of the guys I talked to asked, how do you intercept Lamar Jackson 4 times and still not win?
Because the Browns suck.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield did not do nothing,
So,
dude.
all right. So, but let's get back to now the Steelers here. The Steelers look lost. I mean, Ben can't really throw the ball like he used to. The wide receivers are dropping. They're becoming more one-dimensional. Not my poor guy, Najee Harris. He had a little slip up on this game against the Bengals. This is looking tough. This is looking really tough. The Steelers are not looking as scary like they used to be. And now you got Baltimore coming into town. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. And it's still a divisional game. But I'm going to wrap this up super quick because on this one here, I just don't see the Steelers causing havoc for Baltimore unless they go into the film room and they look what Cleveland did to duplicate that, to challenge Baltimore. But I just feel that Lamar Jackson is just going to go in there and beat them.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I got the Ravens. I think I've made it clear. I think the Steelers are very overrated. Even last season, they were very overrated. They had a terrible schedule last season. And this season, it's been showing. Big Ben, he's not it. He's done. And then I think he injured his shoulder last game. He didn't get out, but it looked rough for Big Ben, and I think it's his time. He's going to need to start wrapping it up. Big Ben is just not cutting it, and Lamar Jackson is just too good. He can run it, he can pass it, whatever. Even if he throws 4 picks, if he's going against a quarterback like Big Ben, like last week he went against the quarterback in Baker Mayfield, they're not going to do anything against the Ravens on this one, so I'm going with the Ravens.
How about you, Chuck?
Well, I know this. If you think you can throw 4 interceptions and win a football game, you're probably not right. And yes, he did, but do it again and see what happens because you will lose to the abysmal Pittsburgh Steelers if you do that again. I don't think he's the kind of guy with his talent and his drive, and he's a baller, man, and he wants to play the game and he wants to prove everyone wrong. So he's not going to come out and throw 4 picks again. But if you think you're going to do that and have a bad game, you're not going to win again, or you're not going to win 2 weeks in a row that way. But the bigger picture for the Steelers is the reason they're overrated is because on paper they look so good. They have every answer at every position. The defense looks stacked. The offense has so many weapons, and yet now they're not performing. So that tells me that locker room is in disarray. And if your locker room's not together, then your football team's not together. And you're not going to beat a team like the Baltimore Ravens if your team's not put together. So, I think that the Ravens have more to play for right now, keeping that high seed in hopes. And I just don't think Lamar Jackson's going to put up that kind of game 2 weeks in a row. So he's going to answer like the true athlete he is.
For some reason, I have this feeling that this is going to be not even a run game affair like in the previous games throughout the years. This is going to be a game of airing it out, tearing apart the secondary, and Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown is going to have a phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm.
Something just tells me, and I'm gonna watch the game and then go back, and so let's see if I'm right. But I got the Ravens on this one, and I feel that the Ravens are just going to keep continuing to win, but their schedule does get a little tough.
Mm-hmm.
So they better be prepared because they do have Green Bay still.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be playing playoff teams coming up, and they still got a showdown with the Bengals. So they're not out of the woods yet. But for now, this is just another game they're just going to pass on and then keep going forward. Next up, we have the NFC West Divisional Showdown in the San Francisco 49ers going to Seattle to visit the confused Seattle Seahawks team. This is so unfortunate because when you play the Seattle Seahawks, what comes to your mind? Russell Wilson, dynamic offense, going into Seattle, and last time it was Quest Field. What's the new stadium called? What's the name of it? They keep changing the name. Do you know?
I have no clue.
Do you know, Chuck? See, I don't even know either. When I went, it was Quest Field. Even before that was the Kingdom, but that was way back. Okay, Tristan, it was a long before you were
time
born.
ago.
Long time ago.
Lumen Field. That's what it's called now.
Okay, that don't even sound intimidating. But all right. But it is a loud stadium. And I'm going to throw it out there. You Seahawk fans, it is loud there. I mean, I've been to two of the loudest stadiums in the NFL, in Seattle and in Kansas City. Arrowhead is loud as well. So they're both there. It's loud. But here's the thing. It just sucks to see Russell Wilson struggling. To see that you got two premier wide receivers in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett just not really producing anything. And then, with Chris Carson going out for the year with his neck injury, you're going against a San Francisco team that right now they don't have Deebo Samuel for the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. But you have other players that have stepped up.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk, he's been stepping up.
So in this one, I'm going to wrap. I think Garoppolo is just going to go in there. It's going to be a close game, but not enough to. It's going to intimidate San Francisco. I think San Francisco is going to go in there and get the win.
Yeah, I agree, man. San Francisco's been on fire the past couple weeks, and George Kittle on fire. Even with Debo out, they have the weapons on offense, and Seattle does not have that good of a defense. And just with how Seattle's been playing, I don't think they'll make much happen on offense as well. So, I'm going with San Francisco on this one.
Yeah, I agree. With Seattle just getting embarrassed on offense last week, it just shows that, their coaching doesn't have it together and they don't have a game plan, it seems like, even with their weapons that they do have. Their talks of trading Russell Wilson again and seems to be entertaining it quite well. So, I think San Francisco trying to keep their seed up, they need to get in there and get a win. But I just honestly think they're going to control the football from the ground game.Ey're going to have time of possession by far. Seattle can't do that right now. So I think it's going to be just a textbook, run the football, pass when you have to. Jimmy G's going to come out with the win.
All right, and this is especially with Seattle on the defense side with Jamal Adams. He's an awesome pass rusher. It's just that he doesn't have all the help that he needs. Mm-hmm. So if Pete Carroll wants to reestablish the defense, bring back that Legion of Boom, because we all remember the Legion of Boom. I mean that was, I got an opportunity to see them, and I mean you're talking about Wagner. I mean Wagner's still playing good football. Yeah. And then I wonder whatever happened to Cam Chancellor. Where did he go?
He retired.
Yeah. He retired?
Yeah.
And then also, Richard Sherman, is he still out for the year in Tampa, or he's just out for a little bit?
I think he's just out for a little bit. I think indefinitely, I think is what it's classified as, but
okay, well,
could be wrong.
Don't put him by himself one-on-one, because you already saw that Super Bowl against Kansas City. He was just getting burned, so we don't need to see that.
Oh, I like to see that.
That was the past. Don't reminisce the past. So here's the thing. Seattle, if they keep up what they're doing, they're going to be the last team in the NFC West, and they're going to be that way for a while because Arizona's still young, and they're still playing great, and San Francisco has found their ways to get back into the winning streak, and then the Rams aren't going anywhere, so Seattle's now like, we're in like last place. We've not seen that in a long time, but this could happen, so hopefully something happens in the offseason for Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll and staff to really put up a plan or put something together, because Russell Wilson still has a lot of football in him. I would not count him out. It's just that they need to come together. Or Russell Wilson can give a call to Aaron Rodgers, talk to him, coach him a little bit, tell him, hey, what should I do? Or go talk to Tony Robbins. I don't know, do something, but get it together and find out a way what's going to bring you guys back to prominence in football. All right. So
actually on that note, I just want to give a shout out to my girlfriend. She's a big 49ers fan. Last time I did this, it was because we all picked the Rams to beat them, and that did not happen. So
Were you in the doghouse? Were you in the doghouse?
Yeah. So good for her. She wanted me to get back on here and let that be known. So good job, Gabby. Good job.
Well, and let's while we're there on the 49ers, let's go ahead and give a shout out to Marie, my friend out there in Newport Beach, California. Huge 49er fans. Shout out to you guys. Patrick as well, our friend Patrick. He's a big 49er fan. It's just, like I said, to wrap that up, Seattle needs to get it together. That's all I can say in the matter.
Yep.
So, all right. So we have a Sunday night flex game. We have the Denver Broncos visiting the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Denver Broncos had a quality win last Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Kansas City Chiefs still continuing to win, coming off their bye. This is going to be an interesting game. And now, before we get into it, this is awesome how they flex this game, because Denver has shown that defensively they can match up. I mean, they've got young pieces. The coach has realized, using his skills of being a defensive-minded guy, to pair off against high-caliber quarterbacks. I mean, ever since that win against Dallas, I felt, okay, we're going to do something. And then we get stomped by the Eagles, which made no sense. And then we just have these losses. But I feel on paper we're not bad, and this is going to be it. Now, before we start getting into the trash talking and all that, here's the thing. Denver struggles against Patrick Mahomes. They struggle. They have not been able to beat Kansas City. I mean, it's not like the good years when we had Peyton. When Peyton was there, we'd beat you guys every year. But again, I'm not going to be a hypocrite.
Living in
I'm
the
not going to be.
past.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that. So I got to focus where we're at. Now, I don't know how Teddy Bridgewater is going to go in, because right now the Chiefs are playing great defense. Everything's going back to all cylinders for you guys, and you guys are looking like a dangerous team again. So going into Arrowhead, I've gone against Denver twice, and I've lost. So to all my Denver fans, you guys, I'm going to stay strong. I'm going to go for you guys for one reason and one reason only. It's going to be the run game. We've always said before that Denver is known for the run game. Here's the thing. The Honey Badger is going to try to lock down one of their top wide receivers. But we have more than one elite wide receiver. I mean, I'm not going to put him up there in top 10, but overall, Melvin Gordon, he's consistent, but not like super consistent. Let Williams run the ball. The guy's more adjutant. The guy can create more opportunity. He complements Teddy Bridgewater when they're playing. And I can't say that guy's is Fant still out? I don't know if Fant
I have no idea.
But they're gonna have to use every single piece, because you're going into the most difficult place to win games. Arrowhead is so tough to win at, and this is a rivalry that's gone on for a long time. I mean, we've even watched close games. This is just one of those. It's prime time. All eyes are on Denver. So, am I optimistic? No, but I'm a Broncos fan, so I'm tired of going against, because look, I'm 0-2. Every time I root against them, because I didn't think they're going to win, they win. So I hope I don't jinx myself, but I'll take Denver on this. And if they did win, it's going to come into critical mistakes. It's going to be a critical mistake on the Chiefs side that would do, and the Broncos are going to capitalize on it.
Man, it's good to dream. That's all I can say to you, man. The Chiefs are not losing this one, and here's why. Past 3 games they've played, phenomenal defense against good offenses. And, man, not just Tyrann Mathieu on defense, but L'Jarius Sneed's been doing great. Chris Jones has been producing now that they moved him back inside. And we have Melvin Ingram. He's been putting pressure on the quarterback. Just like we have weapons all around the field. Great linebackers and Nick Bolton and Willie Gay. It's just our defense has been phenomenal. And I'm happy that I can say that with how they started the season off. And they're not going to run against the Chiefs. I don't see that happening, man.
And I'm just going to throw it out there, Chuck. I'm going to apologize to you, Tristan. You know why? Because we picked on you on so long, but you kept your head up. You didn't cry. You didn't try to, block me on social media. You were still here. So, Tristan, my apologies to you and all the Kansas City Chiefs fans. I'm just going to say you were right. I admire the fact that you kept your head up. You didn't try to rethink about your life or nothing. You just stood strong, man. You stood strong. So my apologies, bro. My apologies.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
All right, Chuck, go ahead. Who you got?
So, I mean, you give the credit where credit is due, and Kansas City's got it. They got it on both sides of the ball, and Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's back in it, so he's that workhorse that they can ride on. You do want to put it a little bit in perspective of the teams that they've played of recent and what they've done against them, because Green Bay would be the most impressive win as far as a defensive front and the win itself. The other one's not so much. So keep that in mind when you look at the run that the Chiefs are putting up right now, mid to late season. But you're going to have a tougher schedule when you get to the playoffs. So, keep that in mind. I know they're riding high now because they were riding so low with that losing streak they had. So, don't let the roller coaster of emotions get settled with a semi-tough-looking, maybe not tough-looking schedule that you've won the last couple games of. Just keep that in focus for that going forward. But the Chiefs do have every piece of the puzzle that they need to going forward, and they've got that right now. So that is the light that you do shine, and Patrick Mahomes is what he is, man. He seems to be the prodigy. He seems to be the GOAT in the making, and they may not win this one, but I do think the Broncos will take one of the two. Probably not this one because it's prime time and you're going to Kansas City. So I do think the Broncos stand a chance to win the one later in the season, but probably just not this one.
It's good to dream about that second game.
You know that apology I gave you, bro? Yeah. Watch out, man. I might recant and just say forget it. But no, here's the thing. This is going to be a good game for Denver because Denver is going to see where they match up and where they're going to be at. And like I said, if you get Drew Lock in there, here's the thing with Drew Lock. The kid's got an arm. I like him, but he's so inconsistent. He makes boneheaded mistakes. That's why he's not the starter. That's why we gave it to Teddy Bridgewater. But with Teddy Bridgewater, protect him. Protect him so he can establish the plays, so he can do his progressions, look at his check downs. This is the only way you're going to beat Kansas City. So it's not just, we have just a few plays here and we're going to beat them. You have to beat Kansas City at your best. You see what I'm saying, Tristan? Mm-hmm. At your best. Every single player has to be critical because you cannot give a little bit for the Kansas City because Kansas City will take advantage of you. So I'm going to give you respect on that. So even though I am going for Denver because it's my team, it's hard to win at Arrowhead. It's hard. And if they do win, I mean, I don't know.
If they win, I will give you that, man. I would be like, whoa, I will be flabbergasted.
Yeah, yes. Well, you'll be doing more than that, but your head's gonna be turning. It's gonna be like spinning around. So,
man, if they do that, I would give you respect, man.
Well, you should already been giving me that already. I'm kind of older than you. So. Anyways, all right. Let's wrap this up. We have the game of the week. We have the New England Patriots visiting the Buffalo Bills. So the Patriots are on a 6-game winning streak. I mean, they are the hottest team right now going in, I feel. And that menacing Dr. Evil of Bill Belichick, I don't know how he does it. He makes General Patton, what's his name, Prime Minister, what was his name in England? I don't even know my history right now. Winston Churchill. I mean, he makes those two guys look like a joke. I mean, this guy is a mastermind genius. I mean, even if he cheats and he's having people sneak in filming you, I mean, he's doing something. But here's the thing, all jokes set aside. The Patriots are playing offensively great. They're playing defense great. And they're going to play against the Bills that have been showing a little bit of inconsistency. And now the Patriots do well at Buffalo. I remember when Tom Brady would go, it was just another win for them. But here's what we're getting at. So it's my Monday night game. Josh Allen knows, okay, the Patriots are coming into town. If we want to have this division, this is the team we got to beat. So I'm going to start this off with you, Chuck. Who are you taking and why?
I'm going to give it to the Bills because the Bills need it more. They're on the down skid. They have a couple of blemishes that look pretty embarrassing. You know, the Patriots, I mean, it's Bill Belichick is going to do what he's going to do, and they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to stay relevant, and they're going to spoil some teams' dreams, possibly the Chiefs. But I do think that the Bills, you know, Josh Allen is still the answer for that, and I think this is going to be their get back on track game because it is now more of an impressive win. You know, beginning of the season, beating the Patriots on Monday night really wouldn't have seemed like a big deal, but now it's going to be a bigger testament to see what kind of team they are. They have a little more to prove. The Patriots have already proven, hey, we're still relevant. Losing to the Bills doesn't say you're not relevant, so they still keep that momentum going forward. So the Bills, this is one of those either put up or you're going to get shut out, because if you don't take that division and if you don't get that seed, having a rough go around in the playoffs this year is not what you want to do to try and win a Super Bowl. So I'm going to give it to the Bills because I think they need it more. And I do think that the Patriots, while albeit are doing really well for what we thought they would be, they're still the New England Patriots with a rookie quarterback. Keep that in mind against a not so, I wouldn't say seasoned quarterback, but Josh Allen, he's got a lot of records under his belt right now. So
Yeah, I'm going with the Bills, man. I think they're just, and I think it will be a close game because the Patriots, they've been doing great. So, but the Bills are just a great team. Despite the ups and downs, they have an amazing defense. I think they're one of the top-ranked defenses in both passing and rushing. So it's going to be hard to go against that defense. And if they can just stop them a couple drives, I think the Bills will utilize that and make something happen on offense because they have an elite offense as well. And as good as Mac Jones has been doing for the Patriots, I don't see them beating the Bills right now. I think they can compete, and I think it will be close. But, man, I'm going with the Bills on this one.
The Bills have Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, Emmanuel Sanders. He's been a little bit inconsistent. But Josh Allen, when he wants to play lights out, he will play lights out. Mm-hmm. And Buffalo, it has taken a long time to get where they needed to be. And Coach McDermott has done a good job getting this team ready to go. Now that you add another element of a wide receiver in Emmanuel Sanders, you have experience going in. Now, we've discussed last week, Singletary and Zach Moss needs to step up, do a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more creative on the run game. Because right now, Bill Belichick, you cannot give him the ball. If he gets the ball, he will control the clock. He does what he does best. He takes away what you are best at. And the thing is that this is going to be a short week for both teams because they will see each other within a span of either, I think they will play each other on Monday and then they'll play each other not that next week, but the next week after. So this is a good opportunity. And plus it's going to be at Buffalo. They're at home. Buffalo needs this win. It's a staple win for them. But like what Chuck mentioned before, the Patriots, if they take the loss, okay, it's a loss. But you know what? Now we know how to play against you. We'll go back to the film room, refigure out what we need to do. Because right now, for the longest time, I can't stand New England. Just the success that they have. But now that we got a break from them, now they're back. So now I'm looking at them with different eyes because this is a new entity now. So I'm going to go with Buffalo, and we will see what happens. So in conclusion, we have another show upcoming this weekend, so tune into that. Also, you guys do not forget, like and subscribe. That'd be greatly appreciated. Also, we have new upcoming shows. We have the Cutting Crew that's going to be coming out this month in December. We also have another show of Silver Cosmo movie reviews. So if you had questions about Dune, we're going to talk about Dune. Also, for the next show of Vice, we will talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. And also, we're going to do a special edition of The Matrix. I'm looking forward to that. And also, we will do a sneak peek also of the next contest. Now, we've discussed about the contest already. We're going to give away tickets for Spider-Man and The Matrix. So tune into that for following the sign up and everything there. So any quick shout outs before we go?
No, you guys have a good one from Tristan.
I'm going to give a shout out to the University of Michigan playing ball right now. Go Blue.
I want to give a shout out to the people behind the scenes. As always, thank you guys for doing what you guys do best. Also to the audience, thank you guys as well. To our local, I would like to give a shout out to the Wichita State basketball team. Let's rack up some wins. I mean, we've not been on the national limelight in a while. I'd like to see us kind of get back into that. Also, shout out to the Go Blue Michigan Wolverines. They just need one more win, and they'll be in the college playoffs. We will talk more about that on Saturday. Also, I want to give a shout out to the friends and family. Thank you guys, and as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. So we look forward to hearing from you guys on the next episode. We're out.